Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my 4th round game from the National Go Center's Fall Tournament last November. If you didn't see the other 3 games from the tournament, after losing my 1st round game, I won my next 2, so I was 2-1. My opponent for today is a 6th dan, and I believe this game was to decide who was going to be 3rd overall, I think. Because there was another game going on that was to decide 1st and 2nd, and I think this was to decide 3rd and 4th. I think. I could be wrong about that, but all I know is at the time was that there was big stakes for this tournament. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm black for this game, and I don't think I mentioned it in other videos, but all the Komi, regardless of rank, was 6.5. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Approach, and white actually approaches back, which isn't unusual at all. It's something I do actually pretty often, is I don't want to let my opponent get some sort of Shamari. Just putting a stone in there to start, just to break it up, is a good idea. Yeah, play the diagonal, emphasizing the bottom. The white protects, and then double approach. White ignored me initially, so of course I want to get my follow-up. So I double approach. There's other moves you can play here, such as the 3/3 invasion direct, but I just decided do the double approach, can't be bad. And the Joseki I see the most is white connecting, and then black has some choices and moves to play. Whether black plays this one or makes some sort of base. There's a lot of moves here that have potential. And I guess white didn't like any of those, because white played this attachment, which is also Joseki. I've never played, at the time I'd never played this in one of my games. Like I'd only seen this Joseki watching AI and professional games. So this was the first time for me seeing this in a game of mine. The correct Joseki is to push and then Hane. The reason why is because order of moves here is very important. If you Hane first at C2, white will connect, and if you now push, white can just block because there's no weakness in white. But if you push first, of course if white connects here, you can actually just wedge, and this stone here will still probably die depending on where white cuts, but you're going to get a lot of thickness this way. So white has to protect here. Again, if white goes this way, then black can cut and even can play this maybe. I'm not sure, because again, I don't know. This isn't Joseki, so I'm not sure entirely, but yeah, I think black can just connect and black's okay. So that would be bad for white. So white has to play here where he played in the game, and then you can Hane. So Hane first. Hane first doesn't work. Yeah. Here, Hane first doesn't work because white gets to fix immediately. Now, I actually didn't know this, but I always saw this cut here, and I never actually knew how white should respond. So white should Atari and then play here. And even though black gets this Atari and gets the corner, this is actually, it's very, very close to even, especially at this stage of the game, but it's very, very ever so slightly better for white compared to the other variation. Now, if you're like me and you're like, well, black takes a bigger corner, white seems pretty clunky and not really doing much, how could this be better than what happens in the game? Even if it's just slightly, but even still, how could this be better than in the game? Is because white takes sente, and sente is so valuable. It's so valuable. So even though white's basically settled as well, that's something important to mention as well. So technically, I think black can cut here. I've just never seen it, and it's because this going here and then Haneing is ever so slightly better for black. Because if you compare to this variation, when black connects, white has to add a move, otherwise white's going to be in a lot of danger. If white ignores, black playing some sort of move here, you can see white has no base. Absolutely no base. So white would add a move, and in the game, white went here. So compared to the other variation where black cuts, black's corner is only a little bit smaller, but black takes sente now. And again, sente is so important, especially in the opening. Now this connection here is not needed. You do not need to play b2. And in fact, it could be ajikeshi because, as I said, when black connects, white needs to add a move, and white does so by going here. But white, or later, black can actually play from the left side if black wants to. Now, white doesn't need to do this directly, but just for simplicity's sake, if white Atari's like this, maybe do something like that, you can see black, sure, black's corner is now much smaller and probably white's, but black can get into the left side easier. So connecting solidly like this, like I did in the game, does lose some points. Does lose some points on the left, or aji on the left, I should say. But I wanted to just keep it simple and just keep my corner. And yes, white needed to add a move. And then I attach. So the attachment is a very nice technique if you're kind of playing into an area with a lot of whites or just your opponent's stones. Like if I play something quote unquote normal, when white pincers somehow, you can see white's able to use all their stones to attack. And you can see white is also building the left side very nicely. But by attaching directly, white's unable to play something towards the left because, of course, I'm going to get a big advantage into the corner. So you can see in the game, now I have some sort of structure in the upper left. I'm actually able to extend. So that's kind of what the attachment is good for. It's if you're kind of afraid of being attacked, if you play something like this, again, you don't have a nice follow-up, so white can pincer. You can attach, and this is forcing a white response. Now, it's also playable for black to switch to the top, because even though the right side or the left side is nice for white, black can think about maybe giving this up and then taking the top somehow, kind of switching direction. Whether black does it that way or just extends now. Maybe extending now is a little bit better because it leaves the left side more open this way, but it is possible for black to also switch directions. But I felt because even after this, I get my perfect extension, I felt like this was reasonable for black to play. And the white comes under, and I really wanted sente. Like my goal here was sente. If I wanted to just settle, I could have just blocked and then jumped like this, and I'm 100% alive, but white can go elsewhere. So in the game, I push, and then tenuki. And the point of these pushes is if I don't make these exchanges and I just tenuki, white covering here really weakens those three stones and the whole stones altogether. Like I can't even hane because white can just cut. So even if I have to jump here, like it's still, you can see black is actually very cramped on the left. So I just wanted to get my head out and then tenuki. And these moves are sente. Like white technically could ignore, but this hane here is too much. It hurts too much. So white, of course, answers, and then I leave. And then white does something a little strange. Like, let's say white ignores, does something, I don't know. If black wanted to make life, as I said, I could have done this without making all these pushes from behind. So black really doesn't want to actually make points on the left side because you can actually see it's very cramped. Almost half of, a little bit less than black's half of his stones are making not even 10 points. And it would be gote that way. But white comes directly in, and the reason why I don't like this is there's not a lot of points for either side there. Yeah, it's not the right idea, I think. Yeah, and I'm even able to, it's very cramped there, and I'm even able to kind of attack if I wanted. Now here, white really should play this move. preventing a black connection later. Later, black can connect under if black needs to, if like as a last ditch thing, just to connect. But going here, you can see now black can't connect in one move. Black's shape here is too separated, so yeah, black can't connect, and this move also is helping white eventually connect as well. You can see even if something like this happens, cut, something, I don't know, white can connect back if white needs to. In this case, though, white would just be able to capture the left side, I think, but white can connect at b15. But white covers here, makes me stronger, and then jumps. Yeah, white, at this point, white should just connect. I'd come on top, and then connect back like this. Yeah, the thing with this is I still, again, white hasn't really gained a lot of points this way. Sure, you took out black's base, but black didn't really want to make the points there because, again, black pushed from behind here just to get into the center. Again, black could have made points to begin with, but black chose not to. So black wasn't going to switch to making points there. So, yeah, I think even at this point, black can consider ignoring or even just adding a move isn't a bad idea either. But white just jumps. I clamp myself. I wedge in between white. And then I can connect. Connect by playing the key move at b13. White takes, and then I pull back. And then white's Hanes, again helping the Ponuki, but this is helping me cut. And because of this stone here at c6, white actually can't save the two stones. So, yeah, white can wedge, and then he throws in. That's unnecessary. It doesn't really help white at all, but white Ataris, and then Ataris, and black wins the semi. It's 2 liberties to 3 liberties. So the reason why white gives up 2 extra stones is to take sente. So even though white lost more points, white takes sente. Because white could have like Atari here, and then given it up this way, but this would allow, because of these cutting points, white would probably answer somehow. Maybe here, or let's do this one. Black would take sente. So white, even though white gets more points this way and doesn't give up as much, black takes sente. So again, sente is, it's sometimes worth giving up a few extra points just to take sente. But this, I'll be honest, as black, I was pretty happy with this result. So even though it was gote, again, I wasn't planning on making points there at all, and I got 8 points there all of a sudden. So yeah, and erased all of whites as well. So yeah, don't like this move either for white. Especially when black is already alive, like that's an alive shape on the left. This move is just pure gote towards the center. Yeah, I just don't like the direction here. I guess he didn't like if he invades the bottom, which I think he should, use this wall. I guess he didn't like this peep, like he wanted to protect against this peep, but like doesn't really do much. Doesn't really do much, and white might even be able to fight it as well by pushing and cutting. So yeah, very slow gote move. It's like white gave up points on the left specifically to get sente, and white's best move was to go here. Immediately give up sente again. So I push up. Again, I realize, okay, white's getting a center. White has this nice wall. So let me reduce the center while building the bottom. And I can tell that white didn't like this move at g13 because white invaded the bottom. So you can see white could have invaded the bottom before this move. Like at this point, when white here, like white could invade right now. But instead, oops. White now is a move behind. Black has a little extra height when white invades, which this just one little line is going to change a lot in this fight. White plays there, and then I kick, force white for me to cut so I can split, and then white makes the base. Yeah, pincer, white's, I just switch directions to the right side, saying, okay, white, if you're going to ignore your right side group, then I'll happily answer. And then I played this move. This was definitely a mistake. It definitely feels very solid, like I'm still keeping white disconnected, but let's, for sake, I should play here. Because white can actually hane and cut, Because one, I can just take the 3 stones like this, or the 2 stones like this. And sure, so you can see white cannot escape. So even though white can capture the center here, I'm taking the big corner, the lower right, and just for example, let's say I go here. I've taken the upper right, the right side, and the bottom right. White has taken very few points in the center. Again, with this stone at G5, this stone is so much a hindrance to white. It's really helping reduce white's center. So yeah, so if white has to fix somehow, then I'm still connected here. So yeah, this move was very slow on my part. Very slow on my part. Even if white jumps, even if I extend down, I'm still I'm threatening N6, so if white answers, then I take my sente anyways, and white has a bunch of peeps later, so yeah, no reason to play that move. Because white invaded the right side, which is still probably a bit much, but I understand white's thinking. Black has taken a lot of points on the left, lower left, and is now starting to attack white on the right. White's real only points are the upper left, so white needs to kind of do something. And so I attached. The point of the attachment is to prevent white from connecting, of course. White can connect underneath very simply. So instead, I attach, and then bump, and then white dives, just bump again, and then play here. And here I should, usually this sort of move leaves a lot of aji, but white is so weak, I'm not really worried about white getting M17. Like even if white gets M17, white is still very much in trouble here, very much in trouble on the right side, so it's kind of hard for white to play on both sides. Like just for example, if white jumps and I jump, you can see white has a split attack going, and potentially even has 3 weak groups. And the corner is actually pretty large as well. Just to show, the reason why this move is sente, so black goes elsewhere, white's looking to play Q18. And the point of Q18 is looking to cut, so if black plays something like this, white can cut. So black, of course, will play here, but then white can connect back like this. But again, I don't think white has time to do this. So I think the move I played in the game was a little slack. Playing here, letting white connect back. Because now later if white gets this, black does not have an alive shape either. So, yeah, not so good. But now white turns back to the right side, attach, and of course, cut. And here's another big mistake from black. White is asking to not only connect back, but attack this black stone. So of course, any player, a 10Q, would answer and go here, right? To seal white in, right? Now white has to live locally on the inside. And the game I played here, so this move is very, very bad. Very, very bad. In the game, I was worried about white going here, and if I have to connect here and white goes here, then yeah, black is toast. Black is toast. But white is weak on the outside. So black can just play this simple move here, and white's position collapses. If white just blocks or simply blocks, black can Atari and then Atari. And this ladder looks like it's going to go to K3, like this. But because of black's move I got at G5, this is actually it actually ladders into that, like that. So I can ladder those stones. So then that would be really good. If white extends, it's kind of similar where white just is too weak everywhere. Probably cut there. White is just too weak everywhere. Too many cuts, very few liberties, and black has enough liberties. So, yeah, I had to just block there. If white wants to kind of prevent all that, white can bump here, but now white has to live here, and we can see that by doing all this, black has enough liberties here. Black has enough liberties here. White has 3 liberties. Black has 4. And it even has this one here that white cannot play, so even an extra one, so white would be dead here. So yeah, definitely a big missed opportunity for black. Yeah, if I had gotten that move here, oh man, oh man, oh man, that would have changed a lot. Extends. Yeah, like here white played there, but white should just connect here. Because if I push this way, then white still connected. And by connecting, now this group needs to live locally on the right. So if I have to play this move, white gets to play in the center anyways, and white has sealed black in, forced black to take second line territory, and white has a huge strength in the center. And again, maybe white was worried about if black going somewhere here, but the right side is just much bigger than the bottom. So white takes the right side, black potentially takes the bottom, but the right side's much bigger. So yeah, both moves here from both sides are very bad. Yeah, white goes there, so I can cut. White Ataris, of course, and then I can Atari. And here I can actually capture here, but I played a very bad move. I should just extend. Because during the game I was like, okay, if I extend, it'll force white to have to go here, and then I can capture here. And why I thought this was bad, I don't know. The reason why white has to go there is because if white connects, then I can net. Even in this case, I could ladder, but for simplicity's sake, I can net. When I cut first and then extend, I'm kind of forcing white to have to take the right side, which this is still, decent for black, but white lives on the right side now. Whereas if I just extend and do something like this, you can see white's life and death is not as clear. It's not as clear. White has to spend few moves to live. So yeah, unnecessary cut here. Yeah, white can Atari and then take. So white's life is very obvious. Very, very obvious. Yeah, looking at it, there is potential to go here as well. Squeeze. Yeah, white has to play there, and then I can extend here or do something like that. And yeah, this has potential, I think. This has potential. Pretty complicated. Yeah, pretty complicated, but I think it should be decent for black. But I tick there, and so if white lives. I was fine with sente, though. So I jump. Again, now that white got all this center stones here from this capture, I wanted to limit that. But maybe first, because it's still pretty wide open, I think I should just take the extension here. It's very, very big. That's actual points for black. This is basically just reducing white. I extends up. And the reason why I also don't Atari is because white can just give up the 2 and later just play this sort of move. Just give up the 2 and completely, or not completely, but like strongly seal in the center. At least on that side. Here I really was just focusing on the center. But yeah, white got the points there, yeah. So definitely focus on the sides first by going here. Okay, there. A peep. And then attached, yeah, this move was huge because white could play this move in sente. This move is threatening, black ignores. White simply just Hane, because if black Hane's back, white Ataris, and is threatening cutting or capturing. So black would have to answer this probably with this sort of move, and then white plays here, and white's base on the bottom is much better. So that's why in the game, I peeped and then attached to prevent that. And played down. So that was a very big spot there. White peeps. A little vulgar peep. Usually you want to peep on the second line because both are threatening to cut. But this one is kind of asking black. If black connects solidly, Compared to h3, white's stone has more liberties and better access towards the corner. If black plays either hanging connection, white gets an extra forcing move. Like here, white can extend up, black has to answer. Same thing if black goes here, white gets an extra forcing move. Yeah, so here, it's one of those things where a lot of cases there's more than one way to do something, and that means more than one way to cut, as we saw on the right side. And same thing for peeps. There's usually more than one way to peep. So yeah, white's peep here should definitely be here. Definitely. So look for this kind of diagonal peep almost, I guess you want to call it. So yeah, it's pretty strong. And then connects. Yeah, this was pretty slow. Making this exchange is good because it prevents later black being able to connect like this. And that's pretty big for the corner. But at least by making this exchange, there's no way for black to connect now. Because if white cuts, or if black cuts, white can Atari and then descend. So just by making this exchange, it's good for white. Answering though, you can see white's actually not making that many points doing this. So yeah, I hane and cut and extend. And so white has to live pretty small. And then I jump to the center. Yeah, so white's move here, you can see white really didn't gain that much there. White does have some endgame there, but for white, it's just not worth that much. Then I play the upper side. Play there, yep. Hane, double hane. Atari and connect there. And this looks like a weird connection because there's many ways for white to connect, like here or here. And so you might think, why would white make such like an empty triangle in such bad shape? It's to prevent black's L19 from being sente. Whether white protects here or at J17, it's going to make L19 sente. So it's to prevent sente endgame for black. So I take the stone, Atari. Yep, so now we're in endgame, and the game's actually very close. At the time, I thought I had a pretty large lead because I was like, well, white's really only big territory is the upper left, but I have the lower left, the upper right. Like I have pretty big territories, but it was a pretty close game. White saves the cutting stone, but I can connect back. White covers, bump, and then peep. Hane and connect. The point of this hane and connect is to connect my stones in the center now. There's no way for white to cut now. Yeah, there's no way white can if let's see if I remember how to do it. If white tries to cut by doing this, yeah, I can just push here, push like this. If white, oops, sorry. And then if white covers, I can Atari this way. If white plays this one, I can still connect because this is still threatening there. So white has to fix, and then I can connect. If I don't make this exchange, what's the move that white can cut though? Because I definitely saw a move white could play to cut. Is it It's not that one. What is it? There was a move I saw that white can play to cut. Maybe I am just okay there, but I was worried about something. Again, this game was over or like 5 months ago or so hard to remember exactly what I was thinking, but regardless, it is pretty big end game as well. Because by haneing there, I actually make a 1 sente because white now has a smaller base, so I connect. So he takes the center, but it's got more opening, so I can just come in more. Plays there, yep. Yeah, maybe this move's okay, but you can see it really doesn't make white points, it just reduces black. I think he wants to make this a false eye at B13. You can see that his next moves are making one he cuts, and then he descends. So he's making this a false eye, I guess. So maybe it's okay, but I can push and then peep. So this peep is very painful for white. White has to answer by connecting here, but then black can connect back by playing there. White cannot cut because black will cut white back. So white goes there. So you can see white really didn't get much out of the center, and that's why I shouldn't have been so quick to get into the center, because by me getting into the center, like with this jump here, I allowed white to invade the bottom, I think. No, not the bottom, somewhere else though. When I played the jump, or I let white take the move up top, yeah, which was very big. Hane and attach, and so you want to think about this to be careful, but in this case white cannot do anything to cut this. It just doesn't go anywhere. Black's too strong. So you want to think about this. If you're a player who kind of instinctually like connects like this, a lot of the time, or at least most of it, or some of the time I should say, if you have a lot of stones in the area, you want to think about if you can ignore this. So I'm able to ignore it. Attach. Connect, and he connects. Peep. Atari, and then Hane make some points there. And again, the game is very, very close. Very, very close. Yeah, so there's an interesting thing that's about to happen here. Is white starts, okay, pushes, okay, that's sente, and then starts to take away liberties here. So this is all sente. Black has to start filling liberties, and then has to capture, right? But white could have done better, believe it or not. Because at this point here, white can play at c5. Because if black just starts to take the stones, white can Atari here, and you can see it's a connect and die. Black cannot save. So that means black has to fix by doing a move like this, playing something like this. Well, now white can play all the moves white played. And if you look at the end result from this and the game, the actual game, right, all this is sente. You can see, let's see, where's it there? Sorry, this one. Why is that? Yeah, this one. You can see here, black gets an extra point there. Do you see that? And so while your stones are on the board, you want to try to use the oji of them. So white could have played c5 to get an extra point off. You see that? See how black had to play a7, but that's because the stones are on the board. So yeah, white could have played, and when a close game like this could decide a game that's close. So you can see black has to fill in, otherwise black loses the 2 stones like this. So little minor endgame thing, but it's something that if you're not really looking for it, it can just kind of fly under the radar. But while stones are on the board, you really want to try to squeeze every last bit of aji out of them. So I take Atari. Hane. So yeah, it's just endgame, more endgame. Hane, and there's an interesting move here. How about white playing Q19? What do you think about Q19? The point of Q19 is it's threatening R19 and the cut. So if black simply connects, white can actually cut now. Because this stone, you can see it's kind of laddering, like that. If black even plays something like this, that's like, oh, I'm preventing white from going there. The ladder still works. If black plays to connect those somehow like this, then white can cut. So the question is, how does black protect both? And this is kind of like a cool Teisuji problem as well, is can you see how black can protect both? Black can play at P19. And this is a really nice Teisuji because you can see white cannot cut because now black can take. And white also cannot cut here because this shape is very strong. So yeah, this is a very nice Teisuji. And I did see this in the game, which is why I was leaving it. Yeah, it's not, white just comes up. Black again just reduces liberties like this. Yeah, just nothing white can do. white goes there. This move's kind of tricky. You got to be careful of your liberties, but black can just fill. Black can just fill. So what I mean by that is if you cut, white can cut here again, and you cannot connect. So small endgame thing, but you got to looking for these sort of moves as well. Like let's say in this case as white is something you want to look for. Something you want to look for, especially when your opponent hasn't protected at N18. Yeah, so I do fill, but that's because there's no other points on the board. So now we're just filling dame, and yeah, just dame, dame, dame. Yeah, I had to take here because if all the liberties get filled here, white can Atari here. So that's why I had to fill, or take, I mean. And white cuts once, I think, at the top, but doesn't do anything, so then we both pass. And black won by 2.5 points, and that's with white commies. So yeah, the game, I must admit, was a lot closer than I thought it was. Like, I thought I had a much bigger lead, but to white's credit, white made it a very close and exciting game. Yeah, I think I made a lot of mistakes. White made a lot of mistakes on the left, I think, and black handed back those mistakes on the right side. Yeah, you can see white had group on the bottom, group on the right here, and group in the upper right, and all black got for really was capturing 3 stones. So yeah, pretty bad fighting at that part. Everything else, I'm pretty happy with how I played. And I was reading things pretty well, like white getting free moves here, this connection here, and upper side here. Like, those are just a few examples, but overall I was pretty happy with my reading. So yeah, I ended 3-1, and I ended up being 3rd overall in the open division. Now, something, I don't even know what the word is, unfortunate, or kind of, yeah, I don't even know what the word is, but the person I lost to in the first round, where I had such a good position and I just kind of fumbled it by playing very slow moves, he actually went 4-0 and won the tournament. And so knowing that I could have disrupted his win streak, it hurts. Of course, he deserves a win. Nice job. Just I wish I could have pulled that one out. But besides that, I'm very happy overall with my play. And yeah, I actually feel like after this tournament, I was actually feeling some improvements. Like, usually I'm pretty online I can play pretty well, but in tournaments I generally feel like I play below my level. But this was feeling like I'm playing at, or at least a little bit above 5-dan level, and that's always a good feeling. But yeah, I'll have in all these, I don't think I was mentioning it in the other videos, but I'll have links to SGF records to all 4 of the games in this tournament. And in the description of this video specifically, I will have the link to the AGA's article on the tournament results. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the 4 reviews of my tournament. I hope you learned something, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my play, any questions you have. Did I miss anything? Just let me know. I'll make sure to read them. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.